Hello, Sharkey lad. Get the mic. Keep everyone, we're live.
How's it going, Evan? How's it going?
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our podcast. I'm joined by Sharkey. Hello.
How's it going, mate? Alright.
How's it keeping?
Not too bad, mate. Just a little bit tired from the Chelsea game on Saturday, but we're doing alright, aren't we?
Well, we've got the whole month. What we're going to begin with is talking from the Burnley defeats all the way up until, as you just mentioned there, the Chelsea one as well. So this was my first away of the season. We went to Burnley on the coach. Everyone in high spirits beforehand, good atmosphere going along the coach and all that. The biggest surprise for me was that Rafa went with two up top later on in that game, didn't he? Because we're getting beat 1-0.
I think you've just got to go for it because Burnley are one of those teams where they're in and around you and you've got to be getting points. Yes, it's at their place. It's never going to be easy. They're on good form, but you've just got to go for it. You can't just be playing that one in front of it. It's not going to work.
I know. It was a horrible game because it was, we were put in the corner then, we were great voice, and it's one of them games where it was just, it was awful. It wasn't a Premier League game, was it? It was just the quality from both sides were just absolutely shocking. We had no gone forward and Burnley had no either, and it was just, I think one of us said it because Will was even there. One goal to win it, and it proved that to be the case. And you know, you look at that goal there by what was Florian Lejeune doing there.
Should have got closer to him. I mean, it's too easy yet again. You know that you question the marking. I think it's just that little bit of desire by Burnley, maybe the experience of the first season back in the Premier League, where shown our inexperience from coming from the Championship, and it was all too easy. You know, you question the marking, you think, oh well, I'll just get a bit closer, and obviously he hasn't got that Premier League experience, so he's been outdone. But you don't just look at Lejeune, you look at the whole team, and I think the team started to tire out in the second half a little bit. We're running out of ideas. A lot of the play in the Burnley game was getting played in the centre of the park, and that's where the frustration was coming, because in away games you're not expected to create a lot of opportunities if you're the away team. You expect to be defending, but it's Burnley, you know. We
had key players out, didn't we? We had several of injuries, and we've had them out ever since. You know, we didn't see Jamal Lascelles in this game, Merino, Atsu, Paul Dummett still on his way back, and it's clearly that we missed them, didn't we?
Yeah, I think if we had those players back, we probably would have got a result in this game, because if you look at Atsu, he's got that pace. You know, you've got Lascelles, the leadership, and I think if you say you play Gayle or something like that going forward, you've got a chance of scoring goals or possibly breaking that down their defence. But because we're missing key players, it's probably cost in the end.
Well, the thing is that what I actually liked, I know we got beat and I don't like a defeat, but the first time in probably since we played Birmingham away in the FA Cup that Rafa changed his formation, because he went, well, I know we've been shouting on, he's got to play two up top, he's got to drop Hoslu, and then the last 10 to 15 minutes he chucked Gayle on and went two up top, and it was the first time that we've seen it, and ever since then Rafa's changed his formation, 3 times since now. I think it's a positive sign that he's tried to change it, because he's very stubborn, isn't he?
Yeah, it's what the fans were calling out for. They were saying, right, let's play two up front, the one up front's not working, you know, we're just humping the ball up and hoping for the best. And you know, fair play to Rafa, he's gone with the idea of two up front, but it wasn't a bit. I think Burnley kind of had that final say, didn't they, really being the home team?
Fair play to Burnley. I got ill that night, didn't I? And you and Alicia were just taking the mickey with me. Yeah, I got ill. I went, I was home in an hour until I bunked off work, didn't I? I was like, I'm going to bunk off work, and I got a holiday, and now in May, look, I got ill on the way.
I don't even know how you survived that game, really. I really don't.
Came back, and then my voice was like, I was talking like all the way on the way back on the bus, and I didn't get it till about 3:30.
I felt so bad for you.
Right, we'll put that one to bed. So we can see your comments if you're listening on iTunes and SoundCloud. What we mean by that is it's also being broadcast live, this video, on YouTube. Towards the end of this video, we will be looking at all your questions as well. We can see them in the comments box as well. And Sharky's got his open as well, so we'll come back to them later on, but keep your comments coming. If you're watching the rerun, get your comments down below. Right, we're going to move on to the second topic, which, if you want to see all the topics, by the way, they're in the link in the description, what we're running through in today's video, so do have a look at that if you want to as well. So we'll put that to bed, the Burnley game, which was on Monday night, and it was a horrible game. Then we went into the Saturday, and we had the Bournemouth fixture. That was just an absolute... I mean, to be fair, let's start with the lineup. So again, there was no Lascelles, there was no Atsu, Merino, and we're clearly missing them, aren't we?
The inexperience showed. I think Newcastle, I remember, we played well for about 20-25 minutes. We were peppering their goal, creating numerous opportunities. And Bournemouth were just sitting back because, at the time they were in the relegation zone, they hadn't really picked up many points. Eddie Howe was probably set up to get a point at St James's Park. I think he was more or less going for it towards the end of the game.
They were struggling, weren't they?
I don't think they were great in the first half, but I think we flagged a little bit after 20-25 minutes, which we kind of just gave in because of the lack of experience.
We should have scored in the first 20 minutes.
We should have been 2 or 3 up, and if we maybe went 1 or 2 up, 2 or 3 up, then I think the game would have been killed off by then. But because it was 0-0, Eddie Howe would have went to the Bournemouth players, right, okay, we're at St James's Park, we're drawing 0-0. We've got a great opportunity in the second half to take it to Newcastle, and they did that. And I don't even think we've created many opportunities, if I'm being perfectly honest with you.
It was absolutely sick, and I've seen Steve Cook score in the last minute, but the last 15 minutes, 20 minutes, Bournemouth bossed it, because I remember they're having a gilt-edged chance. I remember Mark Pugh turning and Clark, well, it was Elliott saved and Clark cleared it off the line.
Kept winning the game, didn't he?
Aye, and then it was coming, and then that towering header, I mean, you can't stop it. I don't think you really can blame Kieran Clark for it, and they're going, it's an absolute sick now. We were on fan cams, everybody was, afterwards when we interviewed everyone, they were just sick. You were sick when we interviewed you, weren't you?
Yeah, because I felt it was a game we should have got 3 points against Bournemouth. You know, that teams in and around you where you need to get points, especially at home. You know, you can't afford to be dropping points, especially towards this Christmas period. And the games are coming thick and fast. And I think it's the way we dropped off in that second half. You know, there's an opportunity there to go for it, and it was the opposition that went for it. And you've got to give them credit. Yes, you question, the defending, but it's a great set piece by Bournemouth, and they've killed her, and they basically scored within about a minute left to go, and it's so hard to get back into the game, isn't it? If it was something like 90 plus 2 minutes, and if they score, then it's going to be very, very difficult for you to get yourself back into the game.
But we should be beating teams like that.
No, I totally agree. I think it was that one lapse of concentration. You know what? I was settled for a point in the 90th minute. I thought, Bournemouth have dominated this second half. We had the first half, they had the second half, but you don't win a game on the first half. You win a game on what you do in the second half. And overall, I think with their better opportunities in the second half, I feel like Bournemouth just deserved it.
What do you make of the goal that should have stood from Dwight Gayle? Because that question for you, this is the stuff that people talk about, is video technology all the time, over and over. That's a legitimate goal that was wiped off, and if video replays were installed, we would have at least drew that game.
Yeah, I was behind the Lascelles where it happened. I believe it was a goal. It should have stood. But the other argument for the referee side would be the game is so quick now, it all happens so very quickly, and the linesman should have done better. If you had to have video technology, then where you could maybe look on a screen, that would have been a 1-0 at Newcastle. And if we took that lead 1-0, I reckon Newcastle would have kicked on. But because that goal was disallowed, we've had a couple of opportunities, and then we've kind of just wilted away a little bit, and it's went into Bournemouth's hands. They've just went for it, and no, I can't disagree. It was a goal. But there's nothing you can do about it. That won't change the result. And Bournemouth have obviously come away from St James's with a 1-0 win.
What do you make of Rafa actually going with the two top? It was positive, wasn't it? Do you reckon it was better?
No, I think it's better. You've got to go for it at home. You can't afford to be playing one up front if it's kind of not working. You've got to have two up front and just go for it. You're the home team. You're playing in front of 52,000 fans, and your home performances are your bread and butter of trying to get points in the Premier League and pushing up that league. And I felt Bournemouth was a winnable game. No disrespect to Bournemouth, the size of the club and whatnot, but these are the teams you have to be beaten, and we've just basically been turned over in the last minute of the game. Yeah,
well, we touched upon that. We'll come later on. There's going to be more negativity about teams and all that. In the comments box, there seems to be some arguments going on. All right, okay then. That is Coco, the black and white cat. Of course, there's no other colour. I wouldn't have her. So if you're listening on iTunes, Yami Cat's joined us next of us. Right, okay, so we're going to be switching to the under-21s. A couple of times we'll be talking about them. This was the run of form. If you remember the shot, it was 1 win and 11. We got put out the Chekatrade Trophy. We got dumped by Oldham 4-1. I know it's against a first team grown professional men. Fair enough. And then we suffered a 2-1 defeat away at Liverpool. And there was a lot of negative vibes, especially on Twitter. Get Beardsley out, get Beardsley out. And we only had 1 win, 11. What do you make of the whole... I mean, we've done a couple of videos on it. What do you make of the whole youth setup at the Toon?
It's a little bit worrying, but it's never easy. We're never known for promoting from within anymore. We always seem to be buying all these foreign players from other clubs or other areas, but I kind of feel sorry for Beardsley because he can only work with what he's got. He's trying to play the formation that Rafa plays, so that if they do trying to break into the first team, they've got a good understanding. That's the whole idea of having a good understanding of what Rafa wants. If you somehow manage to get into the first team, that's never easy. And to call for Peter Beardsley out, I don't think that's correct. The form isn't great. But
is he a good coach?
No, I do. I think he's a very good coach, but if the formation isn't working, although Rafa wants them to understand the formation that he plays, why not be scared to change it, if it's going to suit them? Because obviously every player in the reserves, they have different ways of playing, and you can't please everybody, and that's probably why the form isn't as good as what it should be. But at the end of the day, change it, experiment, do something that's different. And every fan has an opinion, I totally get that, but I think calling for him out, I don't think would be the right call. You've got to keep your identity. He's a Geordie, he knows the area, and he understands what it means to try and break through the academy, and that's what we're trying to do. In the short term, long term, that remains to be seen, but at the moment you've just got to get behind Beardsley and just trust that he's going to be able to bring these youngsters through.
That's a problem. I think you look at who's the best youngsters coming through, and we always keep saying it's Dan Barlaser. He wants a loan spell out. Freddie Woodman, he has to play first team football. He can't stay in the 21s all season. I'm sure both of them will get a loan deal in January. But you look at the players who are out on loan, are they actually good enough? Is Adam Armstrong good enough to go and play in the first team? It's a difficult one. We're going to come back to the under 21s and the under 23s later on in the video as well. So moving on, we'll talk about something nice, Sharky. Instead of sounding all negative. Remember the foundation event, the dinner?
Yes.
We've seen your thoughts on Ferdinand and Shola Ameobi getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. Thoughts on that?
It was great. I mean, again, they're part of the club. They're the heart and soul of this football club. They've given so much for the shirt over the years that they've been here. They've given great service, and I think it's only right for the club to have inducted them. Were
you old enough to remember Les Ferdinand?
Probably not, but I've seen some of the goals back and stuff, and I think he was an amazing player back in the day. We don't ask for much at the club. We're just asking for players that are going to try, that are going to give everything for the shirt. And if you do that, then you're going to go down in history with Newcastle United. And for the club to have done that, that's just amazing. I
think it's really good. I think 40 is quite a similar age to me. I think we've got about 5 or 6 years on.
I know Shola though.
Oh, you're not Shola, but 40 grew up with Ferdinand, and he was our first hero. Ferdinand is from 40's neck of the woods. 40's is a friend of the channel, and I remember Les Ferdinand banging in 30 goals in his debut season. I was delighted to see him. I know he had only 2 seasons here, but he does a lot of stuff. He plays in the Legends game. Shola Ameobi, is one of them where he wasn't the greatest striker in the world, but what the stat which I was shocked at, he's played over 400 games for it.
And he loves Sunderland, doesn't he?
He's the Mackham Slayer. We all love him for that. And the thing I like about Shola is, we'll talk about more about the foundation, is on his days off when he's not playing for Notts County, he comes up and helps the kids out.
I think that's fantastic.
I think that's mint me, because how many footballers do that? Come all the way back home and teach kids and train them and learn them and how to eat properly. I think he needs a round of applause for that. So well done, Shola.
I think as well, because he's from this neck of the woods, he knows that the issues around the area, behind the football club. There's the football club, and then if you look on the outside, Newcastle isn't a well-off area. We all know that. It's in the northeast, and for me, I think it's a great gesture, and what he's doing for the football club is amazing. And he's watching out for the fans that don't get what other fans get. It's I think it's amazing what he's doing.
I think I like it how just up Stanhope Street, just up from the ground, where they're going to literally redevelop that area and put a whole new centre in for the local kids, because that is a deprived, no disrespect to people if you are from there, but that's quite a deprived area, and getting all the kids in, it's not just football, it's squash to tennis to volleyball to everything, how we eat properly, keep kids off the streets, what we want. I think it's an absolutely brilliant idea by the foundation, mate.
No, I agree. I think it's all about getting people fitter, stronger, and it's all about, again, eating correctly, and just it's an all new positive outlook to move and progress in Newcastle United, and thinking, it's not just about the football club, but it's all about getting the fans involved, and that's a massive thing. And even the little things will help those who need it most.
The foundation's not really talked about. Even John Joe Shelby didn't know much about it itself when he was at the dinner. And I like the fact that you've seen all these kids, people coming from abroad. You've seen a disabled lad. You've seen, pardon me, but he didn't. The bloke who ran the Newcastle women's side, who unfortunately passed away. The foundation took over the women's side. So really nice, humble stories there. And the two young lasses who didn't like football and they love it because they had one day, the training day that Rafa had.
Yes.
When he brought all the kids in, that one day, and they're absolutely nuts on football. They've joined Blythe, little girls team. So, things like that. That's what we need in this area. So credit them.
Even the little things can inspire people, and that's what you want to do. You want to inspire the young generation and try and push them on. It's just the tiny little things help.
Right, a debate time. This will get the comments box going because we're going to be talking about Alexander Mitrovic in this section. The reason being is because at this point, after the Bournemouth game, keeper's right, there was calls for Mitro, you've got to play Mitrovic, and I think that stemmed because Gayle was in and out the side, and Rafa was playing two up top at this point because he played against Bournemouth. He played at the last 15 minutes against Burnley, and Hostler was getting all the chances and all the starting. Now, you're not a fan of Mitrovic, you will know this. I wouldn't say I am a fan. I would like to see him have a chance. What's your stance on Mitrovic at the minute, at the current situation? Where's his future?
At the moment, it's not at this football club by the sounds of it. Rafa doesn't have any trust in him, and he's been playing, the odd 10-15 minutes at the end of the game, and that's not really enough to show what you're about. Do you know what? He did show a little bit against West Brom towards the end, and that was the difference between getting back into the game, but we'll talk about that later on. But this season, I would have thought he would have had a lot more game time at the football club. I don't know why he's not starting 90 minutes. Yes, he hasn't mistaken. I mean, he causes problems. He's getting the odd yellow card, red card. The elbow against Stoke obviously hasn't helped him. He came on. Was it towards the end of the game against Stoke?
West Ham.
I'm sure there was an incident as well against Stoke. Yeah, the Stoke game where he was picked up it was at the end of the game where he got picked up on the TV, and he got banned. And I think after that, Rafa Benitez has thought, right, we can't trust him. And I don't know, I'm not his big fan, but every player deserves the opportunity. You look at the forward line. At the moment, we're not exactly firing, and you've got to give him an opportunity. He's that menace, he's that fox in the box.
It's a problem when no disrespect to Hostler. We're not going to criticise Hostler. He's a £5 million striker. You pay for what you get.
No, that's true. I mean, the goals aren't quite going in, but at the end of the day, you've got to look at, we're paid something like £40 million for Alexander Mitrovic from Andex. Is that right? And he's doing well for his country. He's playing in a 4-3-3 formation for his country. They've qualified for the World Cup. You think, right? Yeah, that's what I mean. And you think, we're not really scoring goals at the moment. So give him an opportunity. Give him 90 minutes. See what he can do. And I've said that week in, week out. Give him an opportunity. Give him his chance.
I think that's all we're asking. Because if he starts and balls us up, fine. He's had his chance.
I think if he doesn't get game 2 now in January, then I think Rafa Benitez sadly will probably want to look to cash in on him and try and get somebody else in, but that is easier said than done.
I think it's the time now. I don't want to see him go, but I think it's time now for Mitrovic to lead the club. One, because his own career's stolen. He's got a World Cup coming up, and if he has a good World Cup, he might put the price tag up just like Moussa Sissoko did. But I think for him, it's time now because Rafa can get another striker and he doesn't want 4. He wants just the 3, and Mitrovic will probably still get you between 5 to 10 million cashing in on him, and that'll then bring another striker in. I think unfortunately his time's up.
No, I wouldn't disagree with that. I think between now and in the January he needs games, because if not, then yeah, I have to agree with that. At the moment it's just not working out for him. Whether it's the formation's a problem, whether or not he's just not doing it in the training, that remains to be seen.
Let us know what you think of Mitrovic. Yes, I know the cat's getting a lot of attention. I can see your comments, you dafties. Right, okay, so we're going to switch off that and we'll talk about you being the new presenter next, just slightly off topic. First of all, we give away 100 quid on Fan League, which our contract has ended. We had a contract with Fan League and we were promoting Fan League for 3 months. And we thought it was coming towards the end. What can we do as a final goodbye, so to speak? So nice that we'll give away 100 quid because we're trying to give something back to you guys as subscribers and listeners of podcasts, and we've got a Christmas special coming up as well. I'm not going to tell you what it is yet, but there is 2 prizes up for grabs for Christmas fires, and it's something to do with the club as well, so we'll probably say something around that more or less probably mid-December, and we'll show it. We'll tell you how to enter and everything. But yeah, just something, give you something back, because we don't do it for the money, as I keep saying. We do it because we love the tune. And yes, we're now a company, which is absolutely fantastic that we made ourselves a limited company, but we're not paying ourselves, if that makes sense. And it was a great month for the channel personally, because we invited Sharkey. I invited Sharkey to say, look, Sharkey, do you fancy being a presenter, because you're practically on
all the time, pretty much, aren't I?
All the time. What's your aims on YouTube? What's your goals?
In the short term, well, at the minute I'm on 700 subscribers, so 1,000 subs, maybe.
Is that your mid?
That is the short term aim, but in the long term is to try and gain a bigger audience, but to try and develop with Newcastle Fans TV, to be part of your channel, to keep grown you as a channel, because that's the most important thing. Also to help you out, relieves, you know, gives you a bit more space, because if you're working and things and you want a video done, I want to be able to say, right, okay, I'll do a video for you, get it out. You know, because with my knowledge of Newcastle, I want to try and get something out there for you, and it's good to have that fourth presenter, if you like, because it kind of, if things do work out, which I think it will, it relieves that pressure on you, because at the end of the day, there's nothing worse if you've got to produce something like 15 to 20 videos, whatever it is you do over the course of a week. You know what I mean? If I can help you out, Alicia can help out, and Will can help out, that's going to benefit this channel in the long term. Yeah,
I think I'm actually delighted to have you on. You seem well liked by most people.
That's good.
That's a good thing.
I appreciate it.
Don't get me wrong, you can be controversial at times, which I like.
Oh yeah, they're talking too fast. I've seen it all.
But that's a good thing, you know. So I think we've got a nice little blend and look, we've got a lot of back office team which don't really get notable. You know, you got the two Pauls, you've got Jay. I'm going to forget someone here, and they're going to tell me off. You've got Paul, who does the website. You've got Mark, who's on Facebook. There's loads of it, but the only four that you actually see is me, Sharkey, Will and Alicia, and I'm actually delighted to have him on. I think we've got a nice blend. We've got like me and Sharkey, we've got Will, who's fairly young at 18, Alicia fairly young as well, so it's a nice little blend, and you never know, we might have a fifth if the channel gets bigger and bigger. Right, we're going to move on back to Newcastle then. Right, so we went to Old Trafford. Again, Rafa went brave, and do you know what it is? He went with two up top again with Gayle and Hosselou, and he literally went for it, didn't he? He went for it the first half an hour, and when I was watching that, I was like, this isn't Newcastle. Who were we? We were literally attacked them, and I was like, had a minute, we're attacking Old Trafford, we're attacking Man United at Old Trafford, going for it, and we scored early for Dwight Gayle, and it was a great half an hour, wasn't it?
Yeah, Newcastle had all the possession, we had all the chances, and I was very surprised that, you know, Rafa went 4-4-2 at Old Trafford, because he did change it against Bournemouth, and you think, will he do it away from home? But I think, like I keep saying, on away games, you have to go for it. You can't just sit back. It's Old Trafford. You know, you played in front of 75,000 fans, and like you keep saying in your previous videos, it's kind of a bonus game. You know, it's a free hit. If you win it, you win it. If you don't, or whatever. But I was amazed at how well we started. You know, I went to the junction with Alicia, which was just to watch the game, and we were not confident going into this game whatsoever. I think it's Man United. It's, you know, they've got Pogba. You know, they've got players all over the pitch that can make the massive difference. And I think Newcastle deservedly took the lead. You know, the way we were passing the ball about, we were speaking the communication. It's one of those games where, you know, if you can take the lead, it's all about pushing on, isn't it?
The quality shot in the end, didn't it, with Man United? I mean, I met up with you two and done loads of videos at St James's after the game, and I was at work watching it, and I went downstairs, and I'll tell you this, I went downstairs because the cafe downstairs stops serving hot meals at certain times, so I went, right, I'll get the last meal, so I'm full up for the rest of the night. And then I went downstairs, came back up, we conceded 2 goals within the space of like 7 or 8 minutes. I'm like, we're winning 1-0, then we came back, and I came back and it was like 2-1 down, and they scored literally almost on the stroke of half time, which killed me. And then the second half was just an onslaught. It was old Man United, Pogba running the show. Yeah, you can look at defensive errors again by Ferdinand Lejeune creeping in again, because he's probably at fault for 2 of them. And there was signs, wasn't it, that the defensive errors were starting to creep in at this point, wasn't there?
Yes, again, we played well for 20-25 minutes, and then we flagged out a little bit. Then Man United's quality shone. And once they went 1-1, 2-1, you know, they had that confidence going into half time. The time where you don't want to concede it is just on half time. You know, 1-1, if it had been 1-1, it might be a different story, because Man United, you know, they might have went on to win comfortably like they did in the end, but it was just how we conceded. You know, it was the attitude of not being able to.
It's because we've played so well defensively. Again, Lejeune come flying out, and that left man free, and then against Man United, we played really well the first half, and you cannot give a team like Man United with their abundance of talent going forward a chance. But we had errors, and it just cost us, didn't it?
Yeah, we started to flag off a little bit. So a second half, you'd expect Man United to go for it. You know, we're being opened up, and they were just running rings around our midfield, our defence. We couldn't cope with them, and like you say, it could have been 6 or 7, and if they did win by 6 or 7, you wouldn't have complained, because, you know, they've got a team there with over hundreds of millions, and we're spending 5 million on a Hosteloo, you know, and you look at our squad, it's basically a championship squad, and we're trying to hold out, and it's never going to be easy. You know, we came away from a point at Old Trafford. I tell you, I would have snapped your hand off for that, but it was you know, Mitrovic as well in the last 5 minutes, and you think, Mark and Mitrovic.
We brought on more Diame.
Yeah, exactly. And more Diame about it does something anyway. But individual, and you think, right, if you're going to mark Mitrovic, you need to mark somebody else. You need to, because they're all threats.
You have a positive comment that was Jacob Murphy. Left from the first.
Yeah, he was right. He was cut in from the wing. It's just the final. It's just wouldn't really have to be in the Premier League, and David here has never got easy. What he's about. He's a young lad from Norwich. You know, we've paid £12 million for him. You know, everybody's gone back. I would say everybody but some, and I think you've got to give this lad a chance.
Yeah, you were just talking about. I was just saying you've got to give a chance. We talked about Mitrovic before. Murphy's got his chance, and he's taken. He's doing all right. He's not like brilliant, but he's 6-7 every game, isn't he? So yeah, let us know what you think of Jacob Murphy on that one, right? So after that game, there was massive speculation going around that Amanda Staveley had put a bid in for Newcastle. 2 bids. We'll talk about the first one. This was on the Monday night, wasn't it?
Monday night.
Or the Tuesday night. It was one of the two anyways. So the bid had gone in. This is what the media was saying. Sky Sports were saying it, and then the Chronicle were picking it up, saying that we had bid up to 300 million, and then it wasn't 300 million. There was a lot of clauses in there. If Newcastle get relegated, if Newcastle qualify for the Champions League in the next 10 years. There's loads of these different kind of clauses, how much money will be spent in January going in there. What did you make of all this? Do you reckon, because you said on video it was just speculation, that was it?
And I'll say that right now, I think it's just pure speculation because the club's been put up for sale. The club have stated that a few months ago that we're up, and there's going to be a lot of media outlets now they're going to say, right, such and such is going to put a bid in, such and such is going to do this, such and such is going to do that. Amanda Staveley is obviously the main bidder, but I think Mike Ashley knows in his own mind he's paid 134 million for the club. He's not going to settle for 300 million. He wants that 380 because originally he wanted 400, but he's not going to settle for less. He's going to want what he wants, and if he can get it, he'll take it. But I did put on my Twitter, I did say, right, okay, just off you go. Just go, Mike Ashley, we don't want you anymore. But I think you've got to be careful what you write or what you say about potential takeovers, because there's more to it, and it's never an easy thing to just to buy a club. There's so much behind it. They were checking out our records, of what we've financially done over the past however many years it is.
The disclosure agreement. What's going to happen in January though?
In my opinion, I think Mike Ashley will probably still be the owner. Sadly to say, I think it's probably going to be bought out in the summer if we stay up. I think they're going to wait until we stay in the Premier League first, because if we go down, that might have complicated implications on what's going to happen going forward. But if we do stay in the Premier League, we're going to be more valued, and we're going to be a more valued club going forward. But I think Mike Ashley, like you say, has to put in at least 20 to 30 million pound in.
Do you think he will though?
Probably not, but maybe realistically 10 to 15 million. To get you maybe that one striker that's going to get you the goals, or someone in the middle that's going to create something, or anything that's going to push what up in the Premier League table. So if we do have the money, Mike Ashley does put it in, do you think he'll have that money back from Amanda Staveley's group? Say, right, okay, if I put 20 million in, you're coming in the back end of January, or you're coming in February. If I put 20 million in or 30 million in this club in January, I want this money paid back as part of the deal. Do you think that's some of it's in there? Yeah, I think so, because for them, 20 million isn't really a great deal. If you're putting maybe 70 to 100 million pound in, different story. But if you're going to put in that amount of money, that's realistic to get it back. And he's not going to put a load of money into the club maybe January because of what's happening behind the scenes. But whether Mike Ashley sells in January or whether Mike he stays, either way, the way we are performing at the moment, we need a cash injection of something to buy players to try and push one on, because if we don't, then
what do we need in January?
I think we need another forward. I think you've alluded to say that we need to sell Mitrovic. I wouldn't disagree with that. I think that's something we need to do, and if we can get some quick money off Mitrovic and whatever Mike Ashley's going to give, let's quickly go out and get someone. Let's just not wait. And I want to see Newcastle do a transfer deadline day, because I'm just sick and tired of
Is that because you just want to be busy?
Yeah, I don't know. It just would never do deadline day, and there's so much promise that we're going to do this, we're going to do that. And I remember you were frustrated back in the summer. You done like a deadline day special, didn't you? And you were clearly frustrated that we didn't sign any players, and there was so much talk that we're going to spend this, we're going to spend that, we're going to get this, we're going to get that. But I think either way, we need to be doing business right the way through January. And if Rafa doesn't get his way, I'm not going to comment on what's probably going to happen next, but he's going to be cut a frustrated man.
I think if Rafa doesn't get his way in January, I think he'll stay to the end of the season.
That's right.
Keep it up and he's off.
No, I wouldn't disagree. You know, Rafa Benitez, in my opinion, could probably do better than Newcastle. You know, you look at some of his CV, you look at some of the clubs that he could possibly go to. You know, even the clubs that he's managed, that tells you where he's been and what he's done and what he's achieved. But if we want to be ambitious, Rafa Benitez needs the money now in January, because you could see in the summer he was frustrated. You know, he's not happy with the likes of Hosler, is he? He's only got them because he needs a
fourth or fifth on the
list.
Yeah,
and we need a player in, but we need, if he wants to push on, you know, Newcastle to that next level, which is what he wants to do. It's not going to be a quick fix, but he needs that right now. And in January, it's going to be interesting. That's all I'm going to say.
I think just talking about the takeover, keeping it on there as well. There's obviously the tax case as well, which is another clause which is in there. But you know, they come in, and it has to be the whole club has to be looked at. It cannot just be the playing staff for me. So whoever comes in, whether it's Amanda Staveley because she's the broker for PCP Capitals, if they come in, they've got to then look at the youth setup. We've talked about the youth setup. That has to be heavily invested in. Whitley Park is meant to be one of the highest graded academies, but I don't think it is. I don't think it looks very nice. I think it looks downgraded. I think it's scrappy. I think that whole thing needs redoing again.
It's used by West Lotman Celtic, isn't it, as well? So obviously other clubs are using that training complex, and for a club of Newcastle size, we need a better training complex. I think I'm not saying in terms of Man City, because you know they've got all the money in that, but we need to be shown the type of club that we are, because you know we've got the stadium, you know we've got the supporters. We need to stop going old and try and look into the.
Yeah, I think also when you look at the that as well, I think the community as well, Newcastle are much better than what they have been in recent years going out the community, but I reckon there's still more that can be done. I think the new takeover can come in. They've got money. Looking across the merchandise as well, you know, financial fair play could kick in, so there's no shadow of a doubt they've got contacts in the Far East. That's where they're from. They will try and hit that for marketing across the Far East. Newcastle need to start getting income away from the Premier League, the TV rights. Yes, it's fantastic, the big money, but they've got to get money somewhere else. They can't just rely on it, because we can't be in the same situation further down the line where an owner doesn't put money in the club and we're relying on TV money only. That's where we are at the minute. We need something else to come into the club. You know, even if it's something like, I know we're dreaming here, but even if we had like affiliated clubs, you know, if we've got Gateshead, for example, and we'll go and get a team in Australia or the MLS.
A bit like what Man City are doing, you know, they're trying to get other clubs involved from around the world. I think it's
they own them.
I think it's something we need to do, maybe long term, if Amanda Staveley buys or if someone else buys, to try and get our name out there, because you know, at the end of the day, when Newcastle United, we've got the support. You know, we've got the support right the way around the world. But if we can try and globalise ourselves further, that's what we need to be looking at in the long term.
It's really clever, because if Melbourne are playing whatever Sydney FC, they've got Man City plastered all over. You know what I mean?
Newcastle Jets, for example. I know it sounds really daft, but it's got Newcastle.
Emil Heskey, go on.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just any little thing like that, it's going to help Newcastle in the long term, and I think it's something we'll have to look at. But whether the club look at that remains to be seen.
So they've got to be clever merchandise as well. You know, shirt, everything. You got to open up stores abroad and all that. And there's something there that the owners have looked at and think, right, because without a shadow of a doubt, owners want a club to be successful, but they want this. They want money.
Yeah,
that's what they're in the business for at the end of the day. And the only thing is, you touch upon the owners, is the only worry that I've got is it's Amanda Staveley who's breaking the deal, but we have no idea what these people are like. I know the Premier League will do their fit for purpose and check them out, but we could get anybody, couldn't we?
Well, you've got to be careful. You know, you look at clubs like Portsmouth who just fell through the leagues. You know, you think, right, we'll get this owner in. Everything will be rosy in the garden. Look, you're dropping down the league. You know, you look at other clubs like Sheffield Wednesday, Leeds. It's not all good. You know, you've got to be careful what you wish for. That's the word that goes around in football nowadays, and it's tough. It's really tough at the moment, because you know, if things are going well, then I think Newcastle can be a threat in that top six. But if not, then it can go the other way, like it is with Meg Ashley.
The other thing is we could have a whole new board, which is what we want, because Lee Sharkey hasn't done enough. Bob Moncur is a great ambassador for the club, but I think he should be off the board, and all the other board and you know, Ashley's go-to man as well. We'll get this new board, but they might have no Scooby-Doo about football, and that's the only worry that I've got. They might just be business people. So they might have a chief executive, which could be Amanda Staveley herself if they'll appoint her. We might have a new chairman, a completely different types of owners, because people think that it's just one company. There could be like 5% here, 5% there, 60% there. We don't know the full ins and outs, and that's the only worry that I've got. And someone's just touched upon there, Tony in the comments said, look at Blackburn.
I was just about to say that. You look at Blackburn, Portsmouth, all these teams, they fell through the leagues, and you've just got to be careful what you wish for. I mean, don't get us wrong, I don't want Mike Ashley at the club, but we want someone with
we could do a lot worse than Mike Ashley.
Oh no, of course. I mean, we want someone with a good football and knowledge. That's what we ask for, because the Newcastle fans, we know what football, we know what we want in the long term. But speaking short term at the moment, we've got Mike Ashley. There's nothing we can do at the moment until he sorts something out with the club. But it's how we use that investment, like you say, because it's all good getting a good owner. But you look at Newcastle, how many seasons and years in the past we've gone by of wasting money on players that aren't good enough at the football club. And like you've just said there about we might need a new whole board, chairman, all that, but they've got to have a good football and knowledge of the football club. They've got to know the area that they're in, and they've got to know something about the sports. Because it's all good saying, I'll buy the club, but if you don't know anything about the club, then it's tough, isn't it?
It is. Maybe find someone who's like an ambassador role, who knows the area. I don't know, but let us know, because that's quite a bit of a lot to talk about the takeover if it does happen. Let's dream a little bit then. The takeover happens. What happens this season? Do we just stay up first?
Yeah, you've got to stay up this season, because you've got to remember we've just come back from the Championship, and it's all about consolidation. It's all about...
So what happens in the summer then? So we've got the new owners in, they've come in February, March, whatever. Then what happens in the summer? Do we go crazy?
You've got to push on. You say crazy, but you don't. It depends on how much they're going to give it. That remains to be seen. But maybe spend between 70 to 100 million. I know that probably won't happen. But
and then we'll sell a few players as well.
Yeah. We might have to sell before we buy, because we want to try and make something off the players first, and we might have to try and build a totally new team. But you know what? I would like to build along the lines of Jamal Lascelles. Maybe Carl Dollar, because I quite like Carl Dollar. I think he's a good keeper. I like Jamal Lascelles. I like that communication. Especially when Jamal Lascelles comes back. I like that. And if we can build around them, that's something I would enjoy in the long term. But if you're talking about an owner that's rich and they've got loads of money, 70 to 100 million pound would be realistic for your summer. And yeah. Is that your brother?
Yeah, my brother's just commented. Hello, Connor. My brother's watching as well. There's loads of stuff we can talk about there. I think, we've got to stay up, regardless if we finish 17th or 10th.
You've got to consolidate in the Premier League first. You've got to remember, we've just come from the Championship, big club or not. You've got to stay in the Premier League. That's your bread and butter. That's where the money is. We can't afford to go down this season. We really can't.
So we'll just stay in the league. We'll concentrate there, and then next season, I think, if it depends how much money is Europa League.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think Champions League is realistic enough for us at the moment. You look at the clubs like Chelsea, Man City, Arsenal. They've got money to burn. We haven't got that. Even if we do get these owners in, I think for Newcastle, as long as we can get European football of any sort, I'd happily have Europa League football every season on a Thursday night, playing some decent teams. Because if you qualify for the group stage, you're going to potentially hit teams that have dropped out of the Champions League, and you could potentially play the likes of...
It's another trophy, innit?
Yeah, exactly. And Newcastle have won that back in the past. Was it 1969 they won it?
Yeah,
so I think that was classed as the Europa League anyway. But we want to try and get back to those days of having Thursday night football. We had a good shot with Alan Pardew back in 2013. We got Benfica. The team wasn't exactly amazing, but if we can go back to those nights, that's what we want as fans. We don't ask for too much, but if we can get Europa League football at the moment, that'd be great.
Yeah, I think it'd be marvellous. I remember Keegan in the UEFA Cup. I remember Graham Souness, Bobby Robson, Lauren Robert, free kicks and all that sort of stuff in the Europa League and the UEFA Cup. But I will dream. Right, so we'll move on, because that was quite a long chat about the ownership. I did think that would be the case anyways, So, the second bid, dead quickly touch upon, it was rumoured that there was a second bid that came in. It was just under 300 million, but it was a lump sum. That's what I think was either the Mirror or the Mail were reporting that it was a full lump sum of 295 million going in there, but we'll have to wait and see. That's the latest we have on the takeover, that it's still negotiations are still ongoing, and there's still dialogue between the two clubs, still discussions, but agreement has not been set yet. So keep an eye out for that. If you do want to know more, of course, the guys on Facebook and on Twitter will keep you up to date with your daily news as well. Right, okay, so we had a home game after that. We're up against Watford. We'll talk about that in a second. Again, two up top, but this was the last time that was seen two up top. Is it not working?
I wouldn't say it's not working. I just don't think we've got the players that's going to fit the formation that we're playing, because each player that we'll have at the club, say like Mitrovic, Joselu, Gayle, they all play differently. They all have their different styles of play, how they want to play. You know, you look at the wingers there, you got Matt Ritchie. Is Matt Ritchie for me not better off in the middle?
I don't think he suits playing two in the midfield, because I think we get overrun if we have two up top. And this is going to sound weird, but defensively, we miss Jose Perez, and I can't believe I'm saying that. We defensively, because he runs after the midfield and stops the midfield getting up. Whereas if we've got two up top, if they go past the two strikers, it just leaves gaps and we get picked off left, right and centre.
Yeah, he doesn't create many opportunities, but he does the dirty work, which is what you have to do, like try and tackle players, you know, try and win the ball back and try and make sure that we're not getting overrun, which has been a massive issue, you know, with the games that we've played. He's
been really poor, Matt Ritchie, in November, except from the West Brom game.
I have to agree.
He's been really, really poor. It's probably the worst I've seen him at the club. He had one good game against West Brom, and but do
you know why that is?
I think it's the formation changes, and then he's playing left wing back, which is alien to him against Chelsea, which we'll come on to in a second. But you know, we've seen that for the last time, and then we just got outplayed, didn't we? It was you know, it was started off well again, and then it just changed, you know. And Watford's again scoring on half time, you know.
Similar to Man United, you know.
There's a trend, isn't it? And they went on and absolutely bossed that game. Matt Ritchie had a nightmare. So did DeAndre Yedlin as well. To be fair, Yedlin, on to back him up, he had 2 men at times, which didn't help. But you know, we touched upon it in the previous St. James when we were chatting that Richarlison on that left flank will dominate away. It wasn't just him, it was Ziegler, the left wing back.
I was about to mention the Dutch guy.
And then Andre Gray's second half, who missed a couple of absolute sitters, which could have been worse. They just literally went down our right side and just literally killed it off all the time.
Yeah, he was picking Yedlin off like a cherry, but
picking him off like a cherry.
You know, it was just, for me, we didn't have any organisation once we went 1-0 down. We were just panicking too much, and I think that was the reason why Watford got that goal on half time. I think it was a worse time to concede, because I remember the fourth official put his board up and he said there was some like 3 minutes of stoppage time, and if you're 1-0 down, you know, okay, it's only 1-0, there's a chance to go into half time, regroup, talk about things, but we're conceded with 30 seconds to go. I mean, that is just absolutely criminal, and you don't want to blame DeAndre Yedlin for the goal, but it's how it happened and how it all came about. How it all came about.
The third goal in particular was shocking.
I think it was coming in the second half. You know, they were creating numerous opportunities. I was there with another lad at the game, and he was even saying that there's just nothing going forward. You know, we're lacking ideas, and we're getting overrun in that midfield. And I think Watford, you can't go against their good form, because they're on really good form as well. Okay, we played bad, but Watford are on decent form. You know, they're doing all right in the league as well.
You can see why their manager's getting linked to at the time it was the Everton job, and he was probably, I would say, fairly close, judging by what everyone was saying. And they'll do well this season. Watford, they score a lot of goals, concede a lot of goals. They'll finish top 10 for me.
You've got to remember as well, Troy Deeney was suspended, so imagine if they brought Troy Deeney on maybe with 10-15 minutes to go, which they have been doing, then they might even have won that game 6 or 7, because to be honest with you, 6 or 7-0, I wouldn't have complained the way we played, because it kind of reminded me of Fulham in the Championship maybe last season.
Literally destroyed, outbossed, outplayed with Ryan Sessegnon on our right flank.
I had no ideas.
Kill him. He'll be a great buy, Ryan Sessegnon, by the way.
Rafa, get him.
And left back. Defensive errors. Again, creeping in. Most of our defeats have all been led by errors. There's no one who said, wow, what a goal that is. You've always said, God, that's another error, that's another error, that's another error. Do we have a problem with the defence Lascelles being missing?
Yes, it's the communication. It's not being 100% switched on. We're too slow to everything, to those creating opportunities against us. And you question their attitude of, you know, the centre backs who are playing. You think, oh, come on, man, just talk, speak, say something. You know, you mark him. Now, if you're marking him, I'll look at him, and they're just running through it too easily, and it's like
it was schoolboy.
It's just there's defending, but then there's non-existence, and it just felt like against Watford there was nobody there. It was like, oh well, let's just run straight through them because there's no one there anyway. Let's just have a shot at Rob Elliott because, you know, he looks shaky anyway, and it's something I think Rafa will have to look at, because you know what. I know everybody keeps talking about Jamal Lascelles. I totally get it. He's a great leader. He's a great captain, great centre back. But at the end of the day, they all get paid enough. You know, they're all footballers. At the end of the day, they should be able to do their job against these sort of quality players. You know, you look at Kieran Clark. He's got his Premier League experience with Aston Villa. Okay, Lejeune maybe he's not, but at the end of the day, he's highly rated from where he's come from. and they should be able to just to go out there and do a decent job. And I had higher hopes for Lejeune, I still have, but he's got a lot to learn.
Yeah, he has. I think his Lejeune, just touching that, I think he's technically really gifted. He probably do your job in midfield. It's just thinking. I think when you have a foreign defender coming in the league and you're a promoted side, you've just got to ride with it, I think. And next season, you should see the better Ferdinand Lejeune. I think he is decent.
Yes.
But there's just a few errors creeping in. And we do miss Lascelles, it's clear. And we criticised Lascelles massively last season, but we didn't know he was playing with an injury. And I generally think he was quite close to an England call-up. And I think Lascelles needs a spell of probably 10 to 15 solid games. Because if he doesn't make the March England side for the squad call-up, I don't think he's going to the World Cup, personally. But disappointing, and we're still missing, for me, Atsu at this point massively. I know Jacob Murphy was better against Watford again, so he's done himself no harm, in particular the first hour. And left back problem.
When he done it back to him,
it's weird because he gets slated, didn't he, Paul Dummett?
Do you know what? I don't understand why he gets slated, because at the end of the day, do you remember Yamba when he got forward and he wasn't really tracking back to why they were conceding? Dummett does your job. You know what? He does what he has to do as a left back. He has to get forward maybe a little bit and then track back, because if you get forward too much and you get outdone, you're leaving gaps open, and that's, without inexperience, we can't afford to be leaving gaps open.
Well, what is the defender's job to do?
Is to defend.
There you go. And Dummett is better than...
That's his job. At the end of the day, I think he's getting picked on more because he's a local lad. If he hadn't been a local lad, he might not have got the criticism, because you look at Yedlin and you think, oh, he's got the pace in that. But at the end of the day, Lejeune was good at long ball.
Are you all speaking English, Miss Maga? Yeah, this is a Geordie dialect. This is an English accent. I don't know if you're taking the mickey or you're just, I don't know. Right, okay. So, that was disappointing. The fan cams again was deflated as anything. Everybody was getting a bit ticked off, a bit upset about it. Even I was a bit irate. I was having a right go to DeAndre Yedlin. Obviously, I haven't seen it back on TV about Matt Ritchie not helping out as well. We moved off from that, and then I think what was fairly good for Newcastle's circumstances was, we had a game in midweek fairly quick, really quick against West Brom. It was nice to try and put that right about it. So the West Brom, again, defensive errors, but at least to stop the rots, we're seeing a change of formation as well. Rafa went with 4-2-3-1, and I don't think he knows his best. He's a bit worried because when we're losing, he doesn't know his best side when we're losing, because he's changed the formation, he's trying to do something. And I've got no problems with him doing that, but a fantastic comeback, and it was nice to see Merino come off the bench as well, wasn't it?
He was looking very sharp. I think, if I'd been a little bit critical, I think of Rafa, he should have had him on at the start. I think I was a little bit surprised, because everyone was saying, oh, bring him on the first half, give him the full 90 minutes, but you can't tell where he is with his fitness. But when he came on, he looked rather sharp, didn't he? The substitutions that he made, Shelvey, Mitrovic, they made a massive difference. West Brom, you can see why the bottom of the league, on the other bottom of the league, because they have problems defensively. Yes, they have tall players and whatnot, but is it that El Ghazi? He's one of those players where you can't trust him.
Well, I said in the preview, look, you've got to target him because there's a mistake in him, and
in my opinion, I felt we were the better team, but it's like, I think it's like the first half. The goal that were conceded, that could have been prevented. The second goal by Sam Field, that could have been prevented. But you know what? The fight back, that's what we want to see as fans. As a Newcastle fan, giving it your all for the shirt. We might be 2-0 down, but you know what? A draw felt like a win because of the way we came back. But if there's one slight criticism, like I say, we could have got the win. We could have nicked it in the end, but a point is a point and it stops the rot. That's the most important thing, because we were on a 4-game beaten run. So yeah, it was disappointing.
I think what was good is the comeback. It was nice to see Newcastle's mentality to come back and fight from two goals down. We're seeing Shelvey come off the bench, which surprised a few people. Merino, was he starting that game? Didn't, because we're seeing Aarons and Mitrovic come on later on. Do you think that dropping some of your big name players like Shelvey is a good thing?
I've said it right the way through the last month or so. You know what? They might be the best players at the club, Shelvey, Ritchie, but if they're not on form, they've got to be dropped. You've got to be able to experiment more with the team, and I think Rafa has to do that, especially with the games coming thick and fast with the festive period coming up. You've got to give everyone opportunity, because if you don't give opportunity, then how are you going to get the best out of those players that are sitting on the bench? You know, they're going to become frustrated. Yes, Rafa has come out and said, I am going to be giving players an opportunity. I can say they're frustrated, but now is a good opportunity while we're on bad form to give those who don't get an opportunity time and time, you know, if games are come up, give them an opportunity to show what they can do. Because you look at Jacob Murphy, for example, you know, it's taken him a while to get into the team, and he's now getting into the team, he's getting some regular game time. Rafa sees something in him, which I've said at the start of the season, we've kind of just got to lay off him and give him his opportunity if and when it comes. Just bear with him, give him some time. And I think at the moment, it's Rafa has to continue to experiment. He's been doing that with the formation. You know, he went with the one up front again against West Brom, which I thought he would have played two up front again. But you've got to be able to mix it around to try and get results, because, like you were saying before, he doesn't know his best team. Is it a worry? Yes, it is, because, you know, we're now coming towards a halfway stage of the season. We should know our best team by now, but we've got injuries as well, so that's not helping.
I think it will stop the rot, at least. I think that's the positive.
That's what we can do.
That's a positive that come out, and it's nice to see the side come back and fight back and get a point, because we haven't really seen it from Newcastle down the years, have we? So, you know, we got the draw defensively again at fault, but at least we got 2 goals away from home, which is nice, because it's not often that we've scored more than one. But, you know, we got the point. Fantastic. You know, some people say we should have went out and win it, but, you know, John Riedlin again at fault in defensively. And then going forward, as Sharkey tries to play some music. But, you know, we're going forward. We're going to talk now about the under-23s, where we won. We had a spell of 3 games where we won against Reading 4-1. We put 6 past Swansea at Whitley Park, and that was only like last week. But in between that, we suffered a 3-0 defeat to Fulham. Nice to see the under-23s actually win a couple of games there, wasn't it?
I haven't seen them live in the last 2 or 3 games, but from what I've been seeing, you know, the results are slowly but surely coming back. We're scoring goals. Yes, we got the odd defeat, but eventually it had to turn, didn't it? You know, we had to start picking up results fast, because we were lurking near the bottom of the Division 2 of the reserves. And I think for a club like Newcastle, it's going to be hard to get maybe into that top. Is it the top 7 that they have in that league?
Top 5 going to be in the playoffs.
I think we just got to keep doing what we're doing and winning games, try and get the confidence back. But it's all to go back with how we need to invest more into the academy to try and push these players out, to try and give them an opportunity, because I don't know. I mean, it had to change eventually. I mean, just give Peter Piatti his chance to look and experiment. A bit like what Rafa's doing with the first team. Let him experiment. Let him have a look at where's going wrong, because, you know, we are losing games heavily. But with the last couple of results, maybe something's working there. You know, that he's tweaked around a little bit with the squad and thinking, right, okay, this is working, we'll continue with that. But you're going to come up against better teams in the reserves that are better than us. And if you lose against better opposition, it's probably no disgrace, because they've probably got better players.
And I think with the under-23s, Peter Piatti's got about 40 players to pick from, which doesn't help. That needs to be trimmed down. There's too many players, because every time there's an under-23 game, there's a different side the next game, which doesn't really help. I know we've got a lot of games, and especially in December, we've got like 2 a week. But what can you do? I mean, that's in the 23s. Moving forward, then, the recent one was Chelsea game. We'll talk about that. If you want to start getting your questions in, if you're watching on YouTube, we will start to answer them after we've talked about the league table in just a moment. But the Chelsea game, again, a different system. You were down. What was the atmosphere like at Stamford Bridge?
I will say it right now, the Newcastle fans were fantastic. From minute 1 to minute 90, the Chelsea fans were rather quiet. But you know what, we didn't stop singing from start to finish, and it was a great all-round experience. I didn't go for the result, because as much as you want to see Newcastle get a draw, that would mean more like a win for us, but it's all about the experience of going down there, you know, London, and playing. You've got to remember, you're playing against a team full of quality, individual quality, like Man United, like the teams we've mentioned, and it was never going to be an easy game to get points from it. Like you say, it's more to do with, it's a free shot, isn't it?
I mean, you said the atmosphere was absolutely fantastic, and the Chelsea fans were dead. But wing-back system, what did you make of that? You know, again, the difference changed. We've seen 3 games run in 3 different formations now. Did that surprise you, seeing Richie left wing-back, which I think he struggled big time, but it is Chelsea. I know we've got to remember that. And then you've seen Mbemba brought in the centre-back. And what did you make of the wing-back system?
I found it rather odd, to be honest with you, because it's not something we would normally see, and I questioned it in my match review for one of the goals in which Matt Ritchie was at fault for. What was he doing at the back? for one of their goals. When he headed it back to Moses and he crossed it in for Morata to score. But
looking at that, again, we're talking about defensive errors earlier on in this podcast, and that you look at like the goals against Man United, the goals against Chelsea, the easy, even Ian Wright said a match of the day that the easy preventable. You look at the penalty one, yeah, that's a penalty, fair enough.
Stonewall.
Right, Stonewall penalty. We're not going to argue about that. The goal where Morata scores in particular, where Rudiger plays that long ball, Richie's got all the time in the world headed away.
You've got to put that into the stands. You can't time waste, you can't dilly and dally, and you had time to get rid of it, and that was the most frustrating thing.
The thing that I'm questioning then is Matt Ritchie doesn't know his bearings. Surely, who the next man, Kieran Clark, has to shout over time. And if he has shouted it, then obviously it's Matt Ritchie's fault. But if he hasn't, you've got to put a little bit of blame on Kieran Clark for not shouting that over. Matt Ritchie hasn't got the time to look around when the ball is coming towards his head. Then Moses goes to the byline, drills it in, and what with Chancellor Mbemba? I mean, I like Chancellor Mbemba. He follows us on Twitter, and I'm a big fan of his. But that was awful. That was disgraceful defender, wasn't it?
Yeah, he was all over the place for the goal. But fair play to Moses. He whipped it in. I can't fault Caldolo for the way the ball went in, because it was a bullet header. It came so quick, so close to him, and you can't really react really. And you question the marking, don't you? The centre backs again. Just it's simple errors. We all know how good Morata is set pieces. He can turn defence inside and out just like that. But that's why you pay for quality from Real Madrid. He's an ex Real Madrid player, and that wouldn't have happened again if Matt Ritchie just hadn't have got rid of it. It's just it's frustrating because he's got time. He has got time, but like I keep saying, they've got to be able to speak. They've got to communicate more. You can't just stand there and stand still against a good team in Chelsea with quality all over the pitch.
What do you make of Caldolo? Because he came in against West Brom and Chelsea. Even Eden Hazard said afterwards that two of the saves, in particular one-on-ones, were absolutely world class. Now I touched upon in one of the reviews that you never see Rob Elliott come flying off his line. He stays on his line, Rob Elliott, where Dolo's not afraid to come flying out. You risk giving a penalty away, even against Morata. What do you reckon of his two performances, and is he the number one goalkeeper going forward for you?
He is. I've said it from the start of the season. I was surprised he wasn't given number one anyway. I think he was unlucky to be dropped towards the end of the championship campaign. He was the keeper who we won the most games with. I feel more confident when Caldolo's in goal. I feel he's got everything that you need as a goalkeeper. He's not scared to block one-on-ones. That save against Hazard, what a brilliant save that was. I mean, that should have been a hat-trick there and then. I mean, don't get us wrong, I love Rob Elliott as a keeper, but the issue I've got with him, he panics. And I think if a keeper's panicking, that's not helping the team, it's not helping the centre-backs. And I think it was only right for Rafa Benitez to change it over, maybe give him his opportunity, but I felt Caldolo was rather unlucky, and I think now he's getting a good run in the team. That the games are coming thick and fast, and I think he might be the difference between the games that we've lost already to the games that we might win between now and Christmas.
Mikel Merino should have followed.
He was at fault as well.
He was at fault as well. It's he's been a great player, Mikel Merino, so I'm not going to pick on him too much, but that's one way he should have followed as well. It's nice to see Dwight Gayle score again. Quite similar start that we've had against Chelsea and Man United. And Rafa tried. He's tried to move around. He's tried to use different formations. And what's, in your opinion, what's the best formation that Newcastle play going forward? It's tricky, isn't it?
I can't really say, because one week I'm saying it's 4-4-2, and then the next week I'm saying it's the one up front. It depends on the team that you're playing, because you've got some teams that have got good centre backs who they're quite tall, and you've got some teams with smaller centre backs, and they like to get forward, they like exploit you. It's very tough in the Premier League because each team's got quality, whereas in the Championship, with our team, you can kind of rip anyone apart, really. It's hard to judge in the Premier League, but I don't know at the moment that Rafa knows his best team. I don't think he knows his best formation. I think he's still experimenting, and I think at the moment it is a little bit of a worry, because you'd think by now he should know his best formation, his best team, but he's done that formation change in the best interest of the fans, because the fans have called out for it. He's thinking, right, okay, if I play two up front, we've got more chance of maybe scoring goals, maybe winning games, but at the moment it's backfired. But I don't want to just say, it's all about Jamal Lascelles not being in the team. Like I've said before, we're a team. We are 11 players in the pitch. We should be going out there and saying, right, okay, we should be trusted to go out there and put out a performance. Even if we can't win the game, at the very least draw it. But at the moment, it's not quite going our way.
Yeah, I think he knew his team 4-2-3-1 for a long time, for a good 18 months, and now we're struggling a little bit he's trying to change things around, which we like, because we don't want to keep saying 4-2-3-1, we lose. He's got to at least mix it up. I think it's good that he has a couple of changes, and I think he just need more work on the training pitch for different formations depending on who we play against. So for example, if we're playing against a high flying counter-attack Liverpool side, you cannot play 3 at the back against Mo Salah, Mane and so on. You've got to have to change it and so on. But I think, you can custom your formation. I think it's good that Newcastle can have a different variety, but I think it needs to be worked on. The 4-2-3-1 we know, but the other 2 formations need a lot of work on going forward. And get your questions in, get them firing in now, because we're going to be answering them. The league table, are you happy where we are at the minute? 14th, 5 points above the drop. I mean, if I offered you this now, I would probably be taking that, with me looking over my shoulder still. Yeah,
I'm happy with it. We're 5 points clear, but at the end of the day, we can't have that attitude of like, oh well, if we keep playing the way we're playing, the other teams are going to lose. Because you look at the likes of Crystal Palace, they're gaining on with West Ham. Okay, they might not be winning games, they're gaining on with. We had something like a 9-10 point gap. It is now 5 points is decent, but we've got 2 quick-fire home games coming up very, very soon. A chance there to pick up 4 points. But 14th place, would I have taken it? Of course I would. The team that we've got, it's a championship squad on paper, and we're punching above our weight. We've won something like 4 games this season. But you know what? With the right squad that Rafa picks, maybe over the next couple of games, there might be a change. Anything can happen in football. Football is a quick sport. Things happen so quickly, and I think with the games that we've got coming up, we've got a great opportunity. And we're not going to be judged on what we do away from home. We're going to be judged on what we do at St James's Park. That's where bread and butter. That's where home ground. That's where our identity is. And if we perform at home and we get the points, then I think this season would be fun.
So just before we get on to questions, we've got Leicester just touched upon the club's 125 year anniversary. What's your greatest memory of Newcastle ever? I know that's a tricky one to put you on the spot.
I would have to say the 4-4 against Arsenal, for what I've seen. One of the best games I've ever seen. I mean, we're 4-0 down at half time, everyone's going home. I stay back. And I wasn't obviously doing YouTube then, but it was amazing to fight back, and just that worldie by Chekatrade. I mean, rest in peace, but it was a brilliant second off by Newcastle, and that's what we're all about. We could have even won the game with Kevin Nolan at the end, but I've seen some great games by Newcastle. I've seen we beat the likes of Man United 3-0 at St James's Park. When Alex Ferguson was the manager, maybe he's not back in the day, but like lately, we've had some great results. And as Newcastle fans, I think back in the day it was go to games with expectation. Now we just go to games with hope that something's going to happen. But I guess you're probably going to have a few more better memories than me, because you've probably seen some of the better football maybe.
I've got a few. I mean, the Keegan years was absolutely fantastic when I was really young. I was like under 10.
Could have won
the league, blew it, Shearer coming home was really good, and I loved that moment, Bobby Robson coming back, going in the Champions League, Barcelona, Feyenoord 3-2, Craig Bellamy, Champions League football, some great times, and that's what I remember of the 25 years. And sadly, the couple of relegations is what stands out as well recently. The ball was really bad emotionally, so it's difficult because. But they're the couple of standouts, and there'll be some massive displays this weekend from the Leazes and the Gallagher's end as well. So keep an eye out for those. Get your phones out, get your cameras out. It's going to be picturesque.
Can't wait.
Save it, keep it on your phone for a lifetime. It's going to be big, isn't it, against Leicester?
I really can't wait. I mean, it's just like the fact that I'm going to be able to witness this on Saturday. We're going to have the Gallagher flags, we're going to have the Leazes flags. Man, this is what it's all about. 52,000 fans, and I will say right now, and we're on bad form, just get behind the lads. I mean, this is a massive game for us now.
If that doesn't get you going, then nothing will.
Oh man, it's going to be electric. We've had big games this season, Liverpool at home, but this is a massive day. It's an important day for the football club, and I think the players, they're going to need you more than ever on Saturday. They really are. And if you can be that 12th man and get behind the lads, I think yous are going to be the ones that push us through. And I think looking at that game, man, I really can't wait for it. And I hope we all enjoy it and take it in like what we are. But there's going to be nothing like it on Saturday, man. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, I can't wait. Can't wait to get on with it, and hopefully we'll get a result. Right, we'll get on to your questions now before we wrap up on this podcast. So we're going to switch to a Twitter question which came through before. This is from Joe Dirt, who says, Sharky, I'll get you to answer this one. Does it not annoy you that we always leave it late to make subs? the like token changes for. Well, I'll just say it doesn't know that Rafa makes changes late. I think
I would agree with that. I think we've got to make changes a little bit earlier. I think if you say make a sub, maybe one in the 56th minute, maybe one in the 60th, maybe the one the 70th or the 80th. I think that would be the right thing to do. But it depends on the result really. If you're dominating the game and you're on good form, say we'll go 2-0 up at half time, then we'll score maybe a quick goal in the second half or 3-0 up. You might not have to, maybe let's just try and get a fourth and a fifth and then maybe start bringing them on towards the end, but we don't have the luxury of the squad to do that. I think I totally agree where he's coming from. I think it's right that we kind of do it a little bit earlier because at the moment it's not quite working. Okay, it did work against West Brom, but that's one game in so many.
Okay, right, cool. Moving on to Connor. Connor, who's my brother, says, I'll answer this one. Do you guys think the squad have a good relationship with one another? Is it affecting the communication amongst the lot? I think the squad get on really, really well off the pitch. We've seen several of Instagram, Snapchat posts, Facebook stories and so on from the group. There is cliques, don't get me wrong, like Rolando Aarons likes to hang out with Yedlin and Lascelles, for example. The Spanish lads like to hang out with the Spanish contingent. That's no surprises there. You have cliques in everyday life. So that's... I think there is good harmony. Yes, I think the fight between Mo Diarmi and Jamal Lascelles was a one-off. It probably goes on a lot more, and I think that's a good thing that they show a bit of fight, a bit of spirits as well. Connor, again, I'll get you ask you this one, Sharky, answer this one. In your opinion, is anyone in the under-23s a good starter for the current squad?
Maybe it's Dan Barlaser, but it's early days at the moment. They're not really on good form, so you want to get them into the squad, of course you do. But at the moment, they're on bad form. And this first team isn't exactly on the best of form either. You want players to be coming in on good form. I think at the moment, our reserves are poor. And that's the best way to put it. Because a lot of our better players, you look at Ivan Toney, he's doing well at Wigan. You've got players like...
Even Adam Armstrong. Armstrong's playing left wing for Bolton.
I don't understand the logic behind it. It's really, really hard to say. I would be deluded to say that, they're all good enough to get him because they're not. And the league suggests that. But at the moment, I'll probably say no.
Yeah, okay, right, cool. Geordie Boy says, Sharky or Lee, do you think Gayle's a poor man's Vardy? No, I don't think so. I think Vardy's a different type of player. Vardy likes the ball over the top at the feet and ahead of him, whereas Gayle's got a mixture. Gayle can poach, he can spin off, go around the defender and spin round. He takes your free kicks. I think he's a different player, personally. Max Glilstaff, I said that right? I'll let you answer this one. Mitro wants to go and as of his game time, do you think he'll leave?
I wouldn't disagree with that. If you can go there and bang in the goals for Anderlecht and help him in the league, then that's going to benefit him in the long term going forward to the World Cup. But it's like anything; it remains to be seen. We really don't know. He's not getting game time. Will Rafa sell him in the January? Will he sell him in the summer? That's really, really hard to say. But in my opinion, I think I would let him go out on loan. I wouldn't just maybe cash in him. Well, actually, I probably would. But if we're not looking to sell him, maybe send him out on loan.
Yeah. Dimitri Davids, any updates on the tax case? Are the consequences substantial? Well, I touched upon earlier on the podcast that the tax case is still ongoing at the moment. We're not going to hear from him for a while. It does take months from the HMRC to deal with it. Consequences is probably just a fine for the individuals who are involved in it if they are guilty, and also the club. I don't think there'll be any point reduction at all for that. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one. I've skipped a few, haven't I? Right.
I've got a couple, yeah.
Oh, here we go then. Right. Max Glilster says, who would you sell in January?
Who would I sell? I would have to sell Mo Diarmi. I don't think he's been good enough. I think we could do better than Mo Diarmi. That remains to be seen whether or not we sell him out on loan or sell him. Whether Rafa still wants to keep him hold of him. Mitro would definitely be one I would maybe look to sell, but sell him out on loan. It's really hard, isn't it? Because the way we're playing at the moment, no one's going to want to play it.
I think you've also got to look at likes of the fringe squad, Colback, Save.
Oh, yeah, Colback will probably be out in the January. He's probably the one that I think will go because he didn't even make the photo shoot, did he? So
Idara.
You look at Save as well. He's not getting games. What's going to happen to him? It's all ifs and buts.
Even Mitrovic to get money back in.
Yeah, I was just saying there. If you can't sell him, send him out on loan. But he's not really on good form. So will we get maybe £10 million? Maybe we might even have to take a £4 million loss if we have to, whatever we paid for him. But it's all ifs and buts. Yeah.
Okay. So Sonny Jim, I'll get onto this one. Which position do you want us to strengthen most in January? That's easy. It's a striker. Strikers keep you up, and it doesn't matter if you've got 10 strikers or one striker. That striker gets you from January to May 10 goals, you're staying up in the division, I think. And I think Newcastle need that. And if you want to go and get someone even on loan, pay them massive high wages, someone like a Daniel Sturridge, fine, do it, because he's not getting game time. That's someone that Newcastle could easily target. Maybe some other names, but he's proven. Which a risk, yes, but I would like to see Daniel Sturridge come in. What else we've got? Jake Holden says, what positions would you buy? And we'll just answer that one, haven't you? That's the same question, isn't it? Well, what would you do? Are you the same?
Yes, again, your striker. Everybody in the summer was talking about a number 10, but it's the strikers that keep you up at the end of the day. It's your forwards. Your forwards get paid to score goals, and I think in the Premier League, to be finishing around mid-table, you have to be scoring around 15 to 20 goals. 10 goals might keep you up, but if you score 10 goals, your midfielders or someone in and around your team has to chip in. And at the moment, you look at our team, it's mainly our centre-backs that are scoring goals. You know, that's quite worrying, but
the top scorers on 2.
Yeah,
3 of them.
Exactly, you expect that for a championship squad, but it's definitely up front is where we have to be strengthening, because if we don't, then it might go against me, towards me. It might even go to the last game of the season.
Tony064 says, how many points do you want to be on by the new year? Well, I think I'm going to go along with what Rafa's been saying. As long as your points stay above your games, you'll stay up in this division. I think 38 points will probably keep you up. 40 points will guarantee you keep you up. The teams below us are struggling more so I don't even think it might not be that. 35 might keep you up, but I think a new year, as long as we are, if we played 21 games, we've got 22 points, I'll be happy with that as well. Okay, so moving across to the next one, the NUFC says, what is the best centre-back partnership?
I would have to say Jamal Lascelles and Kieran Clark. I think it was working before he got injured. Jamal, you know, Lejeune had that unfortunate injury against Tottenham, so obviously Kieran Clark came in alongside Jamal Lascelles, and ever since Lejeune's coming, I don't want to just pick him out as being bad, but I think they're our best 2 centre-back partnerships at the club. It has to be Jamal Lascelles and Kieran Clark. I think, for me, if we can bring in another centre-back with the same quality in the January, that remains to be seen. That would help us out with some sort of competition, because, you know, if we lose one centre-back, then we're struggling, aren't we? But if in terms of who we're best are, they would have to be the ones I would prefer.
Yeah, I would go along with that. I think they've done well when they first come in as well. Okay then, so Matthew Nichols, I'll answer this one, says, what do you reckon to us being linked to Saint Toshan? You know, I think we've watched him a few times. I think that's obvious. Newcastle scouts have been spotted watching him playing the Champions League and for Besiktas. I think there is some truth in it. It's just how much are Besiktas looking to sell? Would they sell in January? I think their owner has already come out and said it. They wouldn't sell mid-season. It makes no point to them because they can't get a guaranteed striker in to bag the goals on for the rest of the season. But I think there is some truth in it. I think the Chronicle believe there's some truth in that as well. Will that happen? Who knows? Jake Holden says, no, that doesn't say that. And finally, Sonny Jim says, would you rather no takeover in January, no money spent, and we keep Rafa, or the takeover spent and Rafa leaves? You've got to have Rafa first.
You've got to keep Rafa regardless anyway. I think we're all hoping that the takeover is going to happen in January, but that, for me, that's easier said than done. But realistically, it's probably going to happen at the end of the season, because we need to know where we stand in the Premier League. If we're going to be a Premier League side or we're going to be a Championship side, you know, there's still a lot of games to go this season, and we can't get too ahead of ourselves. Yes, the club have put a statement up saying that the club is up for sale, but we've got to stay grounded in this. You know, we've got to just stay behind the team for now. Stay behind Rafa. Rafa is a frustrated man, but yeah, I get it. I get it. But I think Rafa will stay, providing that the club stays up and that we get this owner. And I think that's what we're holding out for as fans. Hopefully. Yeah.
Okay. So Rowan Gulliver, I was just about to finish off, and Rowan's popped up with a question there. How much do you think someone like Ryan Bertrand is worth? What is he, 28? Is he roughly 28 now? Southampton left back. You're probably looking at about 10 to 15 million for an English player. It's not a bad shout if you want to go in for him, but will he leave Southampton to come to Newcastle? He's more of the southern lad, isn't he? I think the furthest he's ever gone was Birmingham when he played for Aston Villa. But that's been our podcast today with me and Sharky. Sharky, thank you for coming on again.
Yeah, brilliant. You're welcome, mate. Great.
You can, if you are watching this live stream on YouTube, it's going to be on iTunes and SoundCloud later on tonight, so if you want to download it. And if you missed any of it, you can also download it too. We don't charge, it's free, of course, which everybody should be free. And, you know, thank you for all your comments. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being patient with us. Thanks to Coco. It's just not bad, but thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you. Bye-bye.
How did that go down? Did you enjoy that? Was it good? Good little chat, that. deserve.